Hey folks, welcome back to Practical Outdoorist. Today I'm going to be working on the fuel system on the boat. I figured out over the weekend that I'm having a fuel delivery issue. I had a buddy on the boat with me, and when we threw full throttle to it, the boat ran really well for quite a while, and then all of a sudden it would act like you just turn the key off and shut the motor down. So while we were doing this, I had him driving, and when it would start to do that, I would pump the primer ball on the gas tank, and it seemed to correct the problem. So I'm definitely, it can only be one of two things. It can be the fuel pump itself. It needs to be rebuilt, which I've ordered a kit today, and I'm getting ready to take it off and take it apart and take you along with me to let's see what's inside of it. And it could be the pickup that's inside of the fuel tank. So I'm going to replace both of those, and we'll test it again over the weekend, the next weekend when it comes up, and we'll go from there. Hang tight and I'll set up the tripod and take you along with me. You have the fuel coming from the fuel tank to here, and here it goes from here to the carburetors. These are the two screws that dismount this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and take these off. I've already taken the hose clamps off of them. Keep in mind the position of this piece here, that it's in between these two screws, so that you can remove those. And that's all there is to removing the fuel pump. We're going to take it over to the workbench and go from there. We're over to the workbench now, and I have a magnet tray to keep all the screws in, gasket. The first thing, we'll take off this cover, which, by the way, it felt like it was stripped when we were messing with it on the water, so I'm not sure what's going on inside of there. You and I are getting ready to find out here. Okay, it looks like there's a filter screen. And just a second. Four more screws. I will say that if you look closely here, there's a piece of garbage right there. So that obviously cannot be good. So we'll have to clean that up. And there is a lot of stuff around the edge of this O-ring. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with anything, but certainly you don't want anything at all in your fuel except oil and fuel. Okay. There's a rubber O-ring here. And this, I believe, is the diaphragm. This is the inside. I guess this is one of the little pumps, so to speak, and it works back and forth between these two. There's a spring under here I can feel. Yes. That is actually the diaphragm. So everything looks good so far. And there's another spring here underneath of the diaphragm. Oops, sorry. It's actually nice and clean, a lot cleaner than I thought. So I'm kind of wondering if it was just this diaphragm is bad. Sorry, I'm doing this upside down here. Or if I have a problem with the pickup. So I'm going to stop here now and clean up these parts, and we will get back with you when I go to reassemble this. The other issue that I think that I could be having with my fuel delivery is there's a pickup on the end of this where it sits down into the tank, and that actually draws the fuel in and then sends it on around and over to the motor. So let's take that off and see what that looks like. Okay, there's your float for the gauge, and this is the pickup. Pickup looks clean, so I don't think that's our problem. I'm going to put all these works back in. And put this back. I didn't think that that would be a problem because I've had the tank empty, and I looked inside of there. There was no trash or anything obvious that I saw in the tank when I had it empty. But you never know, there could have been something on the bottom of there, on the bottom of that screen, that could have been preventing the flow of the fuel. Okay, so I'm going to say that that is definitely not the problem. It all has to be in that fuel pump rebuild. Let's pick this out of here and see what kind of surprises there is behind this screen. It looks like there's a bunch of junk in there. Oh yeah. I doubt that a new screen is coming in that kit, so I gotta be careful with this one. Oh yeah, look what we have inside of here. All kinds of trash and junk. Who knows what that is? That looks like, it looks like somebody drilled a gas can or something. That looks like plastic, red plastic from a gas can. So we'll get this all cleaned up. That certainly was not helping my fuel situation. Alright, the fuel pump kit just arrived. There it is. And for this model that I have, a 1990 48 SPL, this is the kit for that motor. I ordered it from marineengine.com. I'll leave a link below so you guys can find it. Let's see what's in here. Okay. Looks like we have the diaphragm, a gasket, the other gasket that mounts the fuel pump to the motor, and O-ring, and I'm not sure what they call this piece, but you got the two valve things here. Alright, let's start. They give you instructions. Okay, those are check valves. It's saying to put a drop of oil on each one. So hang on a second and let me get some 2-cycle oil. And I will be right back with you. But here is basically a diagram of exactly how it goes back together. And yeah, get back with you in a minute. So I have a little bit of 2-cycle oil. I'm going to remove the check valves. And they said to be careful so that this does not happen when you go to reinstall, that you don't break it. That's why they suggest a little bit of oil, just to break the friction. Make sure that it's all the way seated, all the way through. Now I'll take out the other one. Yep, that's what I thought. These were not really as flexible as they should be or could be. So hopefully this will solve my problem. Okay, make sure that it's seated all the way. It is. And that part's done. Next is this piece here. As you saw before, I cleaned out all that red plastic from the inside. I don't know what that was all about. They didn't say anything about lubing this O-ring, but it's probably not a bad idea just to break the friction. Place it in there. Now, this gasket will be replaced here. I'm going to spray a little bit of carbon choke cleaner on here and clean this up. Alright, so we're going to put this gasket back, and then it looks like take this part. See, I'm not sure. The diaphragm, it might be good, it might not. I'm not sure how it's supposed to look, but let me see if I can get it on here. You can see that it's like bubbled out, and I know that that's how it's supposed to work, but I don't know if it's just old. I don't know what the deal is with those things, to be honest with you. So it looks pretty clean. I'm going to go ahead and get a razor blade and clean this edge. Spray it down with some brake cleaner, or not brake cleaner, carbon choke cleaner. Carbon throttle body cleaner. Alright, we're going to put the spring back on here, and we're going to use our new piece here. It seats down in there like so, and then our gasket and finally the diaphragm. Oops. Just going to kind of lay that on there for now, like so. Where was that gasket? That one was there. This one goes here like so, and then this spring, I'm not sure what's going to be the best way to go about this. Maybe I can just set it here. I'm not sure. We'll see. And I believe that's all there is to it. Work our screws in here. Remember that the two outside screws are your mounting screws where it mounts to the motor. Oops, looks like somebody ran off with my screwdriver. Be right back. Next was the new O-ring. Goes here. And remember that we were shooting to be in between these two screws here. And that's all there is to it, I think. The next thing is to put it back on the motor, and come the weekend I will give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. So we're back over at the motor and we are ready to put it back on. I'm going to drop these two screws through here. And put the gasket on. I ran the two screws through here, put the gasket on. And we're ready to mount it back to the motor. Okay, and then I'm going to put a couple of zip ties on here. This one goes to the carburetor. To the fuel pump here. And that's all there is to it. There's a fuel pump rebuild kit. Basically it's a new diaphragm and some gaskets and such. Wasn't that tough of a project. Anybody can do it, you can do it too. And now I just have to wait for the weekend to get it out on the water and give it a try. I have a feeling that this is going to cure my problems. Remember folks, get outdoors, keep your eyes open, because if you don't, you're going to miss it. Take care.